call this the keynote or not, but I want to talk about how excited I am that finally, in 2014, and I've been at this 14 years now. I started my record label in 2000 as an effort to try and do something new and unusual. My new and unusual thing back in 2000 was we've got this new high-resolution distribution format called DVD audio. We also had SACD, which unfortunately muddied the waters and still does to some degree. We'll talk about that. But we finally could deliver masters, or whatever those masters are, I'll talk a little bit about that, out to the consuming public. We've never been able to do that before. Every format that we have had up to that point, including CDs, which is the one that does the closest approximation to an accurate representation of audio. And some of you can leave now if you've already gone over the line. But I'm telling you, you can love your vinyl to death, but it can't do what I needed a recording to do. For one, 5.1 is one of the things I love most. You can't do that. I like discrete bass frequencies on the left and right. Vinyl can't do that. So I decided to start my label, not by going back into a catalog of material and pulling that back out to be recast as a DVD audio or an SACD disc. Somebody, and I voted myself in, had to invest the time, the effort, and the money to make new recordings with this new generation of technology and distribution. And I call that high-resolution music. And I believe currently that I have the largest collection of real high-resolution music on the planet. You might think, well, Warner Brothers and H.D. tracks, don't they have more? No, they have none. Zero. There's no high-resolution music available from Warner Brothers. I'm going to see Warner Brothers in New York in a couple of weeks at CD Week. They have analog recordings that were made back in the heyday of 24-track analog tapes, mixed into 2-track analog tapes, and they transferred them again during the mastering process. And finally, they get transferred now to a high-resolution bit bucket, something this big, 192 by 24 bits, except they only occupy this much of the entire thing because that's the fidelity at the time the recording was made. So what everybody is going to tell you in terms of high-resolution download sites is that the delivery bucket is the only one that counts. It's absolutely not true. If you don't make something at the original fidelity that's worthy of this big bucket, then don't bother putting it in the big bit bucket. Okay? So let me get a little more structure on things. I've done this talk a number of times at the trade shows in Montreal, Toronto, and so forth. And it changes a little bit every time. But my point this morning, and if you have questions, feel free to ask. My point this morning is to say, while I'm tremendously excited about the awareness factor of better fidelity audio in the digital form, the sad fact is high-resolution audio is a myth. It's a marketing term. It's something that's going to come out of the digital entertainment group with the ABS and the CEA. In NARIS, I'm a member of all of those groups that have been talking about this thing. And despite my protestations, they're going to put out a very limp definition that says that anything that's better than a CD, even if it was 48K 16 bits, is now high-resolution audio. So we're already in trouble. Yeah.
Mark, in the art and auction world, there's something called provenance. And
Right.
I'm thinking that's something that absolutely applies to what you're talking about here.
It does. In fact, I used that term, and I was the first one to apply that term to what we're talking about. Not only is the delivery container important, but the source is even more important. Garbage in, garbage out. If you don't make a stellar recording at the beginning, however you want to define stellar recording, it could be on a wire recorder or a platinum phone, it doesn't matter to me. But whatever it is, can be contained within a digital representation of that same bit bucket and contain all of the fidelity that's inside of it. Okay? So, our awareness factor is going hugely. Again, this is market speak, this is not reality. But because Neil Young, the only gold DVD I have on the wall of my studio is by Rust Never Sleeps for Neil Young. I've met him and chatted with him briefly. And I also have a number of phone calls and meetings with the CEO of Pono, John Hamm. Really nice guy, an audiophile guy, seems to know his stuff, and they raised, as well as you may know, $6.2 million in 32 days with 18,000 pre-sales of a portable device capable of playing high-resolution music. Again, potentially, it's a terrific device to play high-resolution music. If you could just find some high-resolution music. No, this is my iPhone. If you haven't seen one, go to the website. It looks like a Toblerone candy. It's yellow, plus and minus sign, little screen on it.
How many people in here bought one?
Anybody buy one? I've had my hands on it. You know, they're redesigning the whole thing to be redone. I talked to them last week. Yeah, we're working on the designs now. The one that they actually played was the one that was made with Meridian. What did you think of this? I didn't hear any of my music on there, so I can't be a judge. It sounds good, but I gotta tell you, did it sound better than this smartphone? No. It didn't. I'll talk about this.
Okay, so there are two pieces of equipment in the $2,300 range. There's the,
They don't need to say names. I know which ones you're talking
there's
about.
two of them, one's a player, one's a DAC. Do you think there's a real big difference in spending that much? Because there are other ways to do high resolution portable digital for well under $1,000, as you know. I'm guessing they're all pretty much your values.
And the fact is, it doesn't matter. If you don't play one of my files, it's not going to matter. Remember, the box is this big. Somebody played me a color play. Was it color flower or color play? Cold play. No, not cold. It's the band.
Yes.
No, it's a player. It's kind of funky looking.
The
Color fly. Yeah, it sounded really good. But you played Steely Dan on it. If you played Steely Dan on my iPhone, it would sound exactly the same. The fidelity potential. And then you get a little, subtle, and I'm going to try and slice it out. But we are exploding with people talking about high resolution music. That's a good thing. When my sister hears me on NPR talking about high-res audio, you have no waste in your life. Let's finally, all this time later, we finally made it on NPR. Although the truth is, it was a story by Cookie Marenko, who's giving a talk here, tomorrow or Sunday, I think. And they interviewed me for an hour, and they used one line of mine to attribute how wonderful I thought what she was doing is, which isn't exactly the context. She's a DSD fan, and I'm not, so my stock in the veracity of NPR went down a couple of notches based on that, but that was on NPR. All right, so everybody knows what high resolution music is now, right? You have no clue. The producers, people who make records, Ray, myself, Morton Lindbergh, my friend Todd Garfinkel, MA Recording, we went to college together. We were competitors for senior recital recordings in the 1980s. We're still, standing 20 feet from each other. He's selling his records and I sell mine. So we've got tools to make high-resolution recordings, but you know that nobody in the commercial music business cares. Zero interest. There are studios with, Robin Thicke and Dr. Dre, or not Dr. Dre, but Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. These people occupy other studios in my building, come in to do work for Interscope, Concord Records, and the rest of it. The White Arrows. Records you're going to hear. Jimmy records at 88.2, but they've been to the mastering engineer 5 times, and each time the manager of the band says, screw you, it needs to be louder. It's not loud enough, make it louder. Sorry, we need more instruments and it's got to be louder. There is no chance, zero chance, that my friends in the Grammy Committee and the NARIS organizations are going to give a hoot about high-resolution music. They're interested in making hit records because it's the only way they're going to get hired for the next record is if the last one was a hit. They don't care about sound quality. They say they do, but he does record at 88.2, but it doesn't make any difference by the time it finally gets to you guys. What we want is the best it can possibly be, and sadly, you're not going to get that. Maybe. So, okay, we're all through that stuff. This whole exercise, yes?
Where does direct-to-disc vinyl stand in all of this?
It's fine. Sorry, it's fine. It's got a box. Maybe it's a bigger box, but it's not as big as a big box. And I was a disc cutting engineer for a number of years. What you have to do to create a piece of vinyl is like going through the gauntlet. I mean, I did a recording last summer. Kristen J, very well known jazz pianist. He said, we're going to do vinyl. I said, okay, great. I own a Nagra 4S, state-of-the-art analog tape sheet. I went out and got it refurbished. I got a T.H.E big reel adapter. I also have a 788 sound device, 96K 24-bit. I got all the right DACs and stuff like that. And we did both. I thought this would be a great test. In fact, you can go to my blog site, which all of you are mandatorily now have to sign up. I write 500 to 1,000 words every morning, even on vacation. Drives my family nuts. But at Ph.D, at realphdaudiow.com.
What is it? No, just call out the URL.
Real, R-E-A-L, HD-audio.com.
I've been there, so.
If you see
RealHDaudio.com.
that's me, every day. 400 articles now, and it's gone from 5 people reading a day to over 4,000 people read this a day, including some really big shot people who emailed me back, like getting an email from the President of the United States that this guy's an audiophile. So we need to define this, and we've been struggling in committee after committee to come up with a definition. And it looks like what's coming out is a very watered down, sad to say, nondescript marketing set of terms that will mean nothing.
I sit on R3, CA R3. Last week, I was basically saying this doesn't even belong.
But we got Shanghai, and the labels are happy, the lawyers are happy, but we're not going to get past it. So there's our provenance issue. You know, we do need to talk about that too. We're free flow because I know we're on limited time here. But since you guys are kind of in the know, I know this is not going to make Ray happy, but this is a list of things that are not high resolution in my definition, which I'll share with you in a moment. I'm still going by my definition, regardless of what the labels and CTA and narratives and all the rest of them have to say. These are things that equate to roughly CD quality. Okay? DSD was intended as a format by Sony and Philips to archive their analog tapes. Period. Then along comes the DVD Forum, who says we're going to put out a new audio format. Don't you want to be part of this? Everybody's making equipment and offering up their music. Great. So the DVD Forum, which in 1997, 95, had basically fused multimedia CD and super audio disc, or not super audio disc, super disc together, and they called it DVD Video. And DVD Video had the ability for stereo at 96 color 24-bit. Michael Hobson at he called them DADs, digital audio disc, which was a marketing term.
They were great at the time. I
Oh, absolutely.
They sounded fantastic.
They sound as good as the analog tape they were made from. So now we're on to something. But DSD and SACD, the format, physical format derived from that, was a system. It's all about pulse width modulation of 1 bit, but it's really not 1 bit. It uses a very high sampling rate, so it's almost analog like all of that is hope. Doesn't make any sense at all to use DSD to record, except if you accept that this is a new exciting format to talk about. There'll be a whole panel of people here telling you just glorious things about DSD, except people in the know that it's bogus. It's a marketing sales term, because if you look at the spectrographs of audio that's made with DSD at 2.8, especially right at 23K, go boom, all the noise comes
How
back.
about double DSD?
Move the noise further out.
Well,
How far do you want to
move it out, it's no longer an issue.
to your ears? It's not, but to the equipment that plays it, it is. Your ears may not be affected by the ultrasonics, but the equipment is. I wrote a couple of articles on foldovers.
So when we hear DSD sound better than even 24,192 with our DACs, what we're hearing is a difference in our own DAC and its ability to
and your personal taste. People, look, I had a major cable maker sit in my studio for an afternoon, listen to my stuff, Jennifer Warren's high frequencies coming out of the weekend. Because, the problem here is just gorgeous, but it's just too clear and too deep. It's okay, fine. Look, I have absolutely respect for people that want to listen to anything they want. After all, this is a hobby. This is not life and death. But I'm giving you my position as an audio engineer and a person who's been making records for 40 years. love vinyl, love the DSD. Just be aware of what it is. And when I show you some pictures, you might think twice about putting your toe in that water. Analog tape. I love analog tape. I recorded for 30 years with analog tape, and I did it with this jazz pianist. The end of that story, which I didn't finish, was okay. They're sitting there. We've done all the edits. It took about 4 hours on the digital. It took 4 weeks on the analog. I got my analog deck out and the edit button. I got my razor blade out, and I started chopping tape like I used to. I don't think there's too many people that can do that anymore because there's no undo button. You know, if you cut it the wrong place, you got to put that tape back together, and there's a whole bunch of tape on the floor. So I cut it with the razor blade. And when he and his significant other sat and listened, this is great, this is so good. What's with all the hiss though? So, well, welcome to the analog world. You know, Queen was on the radio as I was driving down here this morning. And in those quiet moments, there's all that hisses in there. That's part of analog magic, right? We don't have to have that magic anymore. Compact disc, I call this, all this stuff is standard definition. It's just right there in the middle ground. Then there's reduced resolution as I finally boil it down. That's stuff like MP3s and you know, lossy formats that we're downloading from iTunes and so forth. That's the effects when you talk about that.
I love you, too.
When we get to what is high resolution audio, no problem here. We got PCM at various sample rates. I even got an email from a guy who wants to go 1.5 megahertz now.
PCM?
Yeah. He says can't do it any other way. I will reserve judgment. You know, he wants to use an Excel format Blu-ray disc to deliver an hour's worth of music, 1.5, 32 bits. I actually put out a bogus post on my site, which was the AIX, I don't know, XL1. I made up a bunch of numbers, put some kind of crazy science fiction blob on the front. It was a 784 sample rate, 42-bit something PCM with, I mean, I just made up all kinds of audiophile gobbledygook nonsense speech. Several people wrote, and it was $70,000. Where can I get more? I should have taken the money and run to Mexico.
Would you say what that means? Say, for example, one of the first one with the...
That's PCM. 88.2 is the sample rate, 24 bits. Now CDs are 44.1, 16 bits. So we go from standard res, folks, up to high res by doubling the sample rate from the standard res and going up from there.
Sampling the ones at the O's.
It's all digital information, that's right. The length of the word is what gives us the dynamic range or the potential dynamic range, and the number of samples gives us really defines what the maximum frequency that we can record, and the manufacturing or the design and implementation of the filters. A bunch of other things are in there too, but those are the two big parameters. And you can double that again. You can go 176.4 or 192. People think that's a big deal. Neil Young certainly does. I don't. I don't own a microphone that goes past 40K, so if I can record 40K with 96K, no problem. Why would I? Because it's marketing speak. It gets you to buy something expensive again. And then there's even people up at the 352.8 and 384. Let's double it again. That's why I made mine 784 or whatever. I don't remember the number. It's ridiculous. It's just chasing numbers to make you feel good. Bigger's always better.
So your feeling is 2496 is all you feel you need given our years of microphone technology.
It's absolutely true. When somebody makes a recording, and this is an ego thing, but when somebody makes a recording that sounds as good as mine do, fine, then I'll think about moving on. But I haven't heard one yet from anybody.
And yours is, I'm sorry, I was kidding.
I'm AIX Records. So I got a whole table
Your
of
sampling rate is 96.
9624, and a couple of reasons for that. One, I started in 2000. Guess how much equipment there was at that time to do digital recordings at 9624 or 192? Zero. I bought one of the only pieces of equipment on the planet from Euphonics that would actually pass digital signals at 96K 24-bit. There was no other place to go. Now there's all kinds of stuff, and just because we can re-clock and keep doubling and get the chips humming that much faster.
The difference between the 16 and 24-bit...
Dynamic range.
The frequencies that you can
The
set.
dynamic range. So check out the blog. I mean, 400 articles, every question is in there. And if you don't get an answer, write me, I'll sign you up for my class in the fall.
I do some work with measurement mics, and you know, to get to 40K, you're going to a quarter-inch diagram,
Yep.
which means your noise floor is going up. your sensitivity's going down. So, you know, the thing that, to get the high frequency, you're losing dynamic range.
We're chasing our tail.
Yeah. So I was just curious, you said you're recording out to 40K, so.
Well, I have recordings that have lots of frequencies out there and real amplitude out there. And my
So
position
you
just
can't do it with a 1-inch condenser, right?
well, a variety of microphones. I have some DACs and things like that
Oh, okay.
that do this. But the fact is, they do get less amplitude as you go up, but there's still frequency content here. And my argument is, well, Mark, you can't hear anything past 20K, right?
Well, you can sense it.
I can't hear anything past 12K.
But it doesn't matter. I'm not going to have that argument, even though there's a study at McGill that says that I'm opting or trying to get money to put together a real test that'll establish it yet one more time. Because it really hasn't. The Boston Audio Society thing's completely bogus because they didn't play anything that had any high frequencies or dynamic range in it. So how can you test for something if it's not there? Anyway. If our intention as engineers is to capture the sound of a performance in a room, then I don't care whether you can hear it or not. If it's coming out of Wallace Roney's Harmon muted trumpet, higher than 20K, I'm putting it back in the room. If it's easy to do, why not do it? Well, because you can't hear it, let's put a brick wall filter and kill it at 20K. Why? What does it hurt things to actually put out into the room what was there when the acoustic musicians were present? So that takes the philosophical, I don't hear it, you hear it,
But the brick wall filter does hurt. That we do hear. That's the when the violins play.
you hear the manifestations of that in the audio.
That's what I'm saying.
There are effects. So I am a proponent of high resolution music. And by high resolution music, I mean, there's my long definition. Should we read this together like third graders? Ph.D. Let's go to the short version. Here's the short version. This is what I was kind of opting and hoping that the CEA committees and all the rest of these people might go for, but not going to happen. Why can't we say that a high resolution recording matches what our acoustic instruments hear mounted on the left and right sides of our head can be? Why not just use that as a definition? We've done that with visual, 32 megapixel cameras, and you know, if we can meet what the acuity of our eyes is, why can't we do that with our ears? And say that's what you got to get to. You don't have to use it. I mean, Metallica's certainly not going to give you dynamic range, you know, wider than about a half a dB. Who cares? But at least we know now that we have the potential to get there. And I've made plenty of recordings that actually exceed the dynamic range of a CD. And I remember struggling to do Robert Kraft's timpani concerto. Timpani, the big kettle drum things, right? They're usually in the back of the orchestra. Well, this one's up in the front because it's a solo for this instrument with orchestra. And you know what the first gesture was? It was this. Pretty quiet. I don't think there's enough P's that can be strung together to define that. And you got to capture that as the solo opening of this piece. And guess what the guy's doing at the end? Boom, boom, boom. Those are transients that are eclipsing 110, 120 dB. That's that much dynamic range. How do you get that on a piece of analog tape with a compressor? The thing that brings down the level of the peaks so that you can actually get it onto a piece of analog tape. Dolby, DBX, other technologies say, well, crunch it down and we'll expand it back and come up with lower noise floor and more dynamic range. I don't have to do any of that anymore. All you do is put a microphone or a bunch of microphones out there and capture it at 96K, 24 bits. Find the loudest moment and relax from there on out. Then you get a review in the Absolute Sound magazine from my Bolero that says too much dynamic range. Too much dynamic range in my recording. What was I supposed to do? Well, ride the faders, make the quiet stuff louder, and bring down. Come on, turn off the air conditioning. Right. So we have the two big fundamental points of getting music delivered to you in the ways that you want it, of any catalog, old catalog, new catalog, whatever, is we have to talk about the source, and that's the provenance issue. Whole panel on provenance tomorrow, and I'm not invited even though I coined the term as it relates to music anyway. So we need to know what it was made with. 24-track analog machine. You know, a PM1000 or a 1630, or whatever the devices were back when we were making recordings, digital recordings and otherwise back in the day. And then, the only part that we hear about now is the delivery container that you consume it in. So you feel really good, don't you, about buying a 192 kilohertz PCM file? It took forever to download, darling, but this is going to be just great. Until you look at the thing on a spectrograph and realize the music is gone by about 22K, and you just bought, 6 gigs of air. Really? Absolutely true. So provenance, we need to know what was the recording for, and glad, and I have reinforced some of the people behind the new definitions, at least they're going to say, or at least they say they're going to say, what the record labels will provide now going forward is this was made in 1971 on an analog tape machine and mixed through an analog mixer and captured on a Studer, and I don't believe it, but they're going to say it came from a CD or from an analog source or whatever, and kind of go from there. We'll see how that works out. So then by the time we actually have choices about how to deliver this stuff, DVD audio was the format back there in 2000 that I went with because it's a PCM format, and I decided I'm going to be the guy or one of those people that goes out and makes new recordings. Brand new recordings. Because it's the only way to clearly demonstrate that we have a dramatic difference between the CDs and the stuff that we listen to, and somebody goes out there and uses the latest state-of-the-art equipment, and the philosophy of recording that matters, because the single biggest thing that makes a difference in what you consume on your end with headphones and speakers is how I made the recording. And Ray and Morton at 2L and everybody else who's making recordings has their own individual flavor of how those things are crafted. And I decided, having been a recording engineer in a multi-track studio, having worked in a sound stage that was making film stuff, doing location sound, production sound for movies, and that live sound for the Olympic Arts Festival back in 1984. I've had a lot of different experience. I said, okay, Mark, you can start spending your money. It's your wallet that's open. What would you do rather than working for clients who I've been working for many decades? All right, what I need to do to make the greatest recording I can imagine is bring everybody onto the stage at the same time. I want the entire band in the same place at the same time. Imagine. Well, that's a throwback to the 50s when we only had 2 tracks. You had to record Frank Sinatra and the whole band at the same time. But imagine, now it's revolutionary. I read Rodney Crowell in Mix Magazine the other day. We're going to do this revolutionary thing. We're going to have everybody playing and singing at the same time. Okay, good for you. It took him 3 years. It takes me 4 hours to make an album, to record the record, because I bring Rita Coolidge or Willie Nelson or Paul Williams, whoever, onto this studio. No, when you clap your hands in the studio, what do you get? It's all quiet. It's a dead room. So people, the drummer needs to be in that room with headphones on, somebody else needs to be in that room with headphones on, and later we're going to bring in the percussionist. And these days, actually, machines programmed and moving the beats around and retuning everything with Melodyne and a whole bunch of other very clever software tricks. We didn't even dream of that in the analog days. All that standard operating procedure to make the record and make it across the hall, which sound like cardboard to me. It's another flavor. They make a lot more money than I'm ever going to make, but it's like eating cardboard. It's just sonically devoid of any kind of emotion. Whereas if I actually get Jennifer Warnes and Billy Gibbons, Gibbs and her band in the room at the same time and have them sing and play, and I put a $10,000 Bronner EN1 microphone in front of the vocalist, and I put a stereo pair of microphones over the drums and lots of close microphones up to you, the guitar player, and I put a stereo pair. My Ph.D. is in binaural audio as well as music. You know why we have 2 ears. It's not to hear left and right, it's to hear distance. So if I record with a stereo pair of microphones, I get the distance from that instrument, not just the sound that I'll then individually pan, throw a reverb on, and pull down and bind and make it seem like it's receding. It doesn't. It just gets quieter and hollow. A lifetime of learning. So we make these recordings with everybody at the same time in the same place. They're done. But what does that mean has to happen during that session? Those artists need to be able to sing and play at the same time, which sadly is not everybody these days. In the pop world, it's almost nobody, because the demands of perfection are that every beat of every tune is in exactly the right pocket. I don't care if they're a little earlier pushing the beats or falling back. That's called music to me. And the 10,000 hours that they, fably put into playing the drums means that I'm going to hit it soft and I'm going to hit it hard. And I don't want Bob Ludwig back in Maine sucking the life out of that kick drum or that bass part because he feels like that accent is a little heavy, so we'll just flatten it out. Change the dynamics of Vinnie Colaiuta? Why would you do that? Because it makes hit records. Okay, that's what counts. We make hit records out of it. We need to really adhere to whatever the standard operating procedures are. I threw all of that out. I said, I'm going to make records where everybody's singing and playing in a live hall with real reverb, 1.8 seconds in this beautiful auditorium. You can see them on the videos.
Mark, with that, Sony came out with a line of players that's making a big splash. Would those players fit in your definition of?
They're capable of it. They're DSD. They'll do PCM as well, but yeah, they're nice players. And my hat's off to Sony.
But you're suggesting that double DSD is significantly better than single DSD because where that big peak of the noise floor is.
It's moved out to about 10, 12 kilohertz. Yeah,
So that's not all marketing with Sony, with all that stuff that they.
it's a lot of marketing in there too. It brings awareness up to people, and look, you go out and buy a DSD machine, no problem. Don't buy a DSD only machine. Right?
No.
Double DSD.
I'm a proponent of high bit rate, whatever.
So, this is a story that's turns out that one of the readers of my blog sent me this phone. This is an HTC Harman Kardon Edition M8.
Latest and the greatest smartphone.
It is. It took me a while to use because it's Android.
Until the Apple 6 or whatever, right?
Right. They're not going to hide that. All right. Okay. It's high def audio.
Sounds wonderful.
Great dynamic range. There's too much dynamic range. That's the problem. That's why you don't hear it. That's coming out of the speakers on the front. I'm going to tell you, I'm impressed. Now, this is one of my tunes, so there is dynamic range on here, which is why it's a problem. If I stop that, stop, go back, and let's play one of the bundled tracks that comes with the phone. Okay, so we got some Mozart. Now, the story behind this is that they spent, the company and the engineers and the people involved in making the chips, and all those people spent all this incredible effort, and they got all this product to worry about, to make an incredible device. This plays 192 files, it plays, it's got great DACs, it's got these little speakers in the front, does a pretty nice job too. And then they scrambled at the end. They scrambled at the end to find some content about it. Well, where's the obvious place to go get content? One of the biggest download sites out there. And what have you got? Can you give us some stuff? Sure, we'll give you some stuff. And that's one of the examples of the stuff that they got.
Well, it wouldn't matter anyway if you're playing it on a little phone like that.
Put it in a set of headphones,
And
or just plug it into a headphone amplifier where and it's going to start nattering a lot. See that purple line up there? I don't know if you can see it or not. It's not. This guy up here? That's DSD. That's the noise that should be down here, but is all shifted up into the high frequencies because of what DSD requires. One bit. The dynamic range of DSD, as you'll read in white here, is what? 120 decibels? It's 120 decibels, oh my God. Or it's 100 kilohertz wide. Isn't that something to strive for? They don't tell you it's only 6 dB worth of dynamic range across that entire spectrum. What you need to do is carve out all the noise, put buckets, and shove it out higher than the frequency we call the in-band frequency, where we hear. And that's what happens. It's all that crap is out there where you can't hear it. This is a DSD recording which is converted to a 96K PCM file, and it's completely fraudulent. And while I generally refer to, in disparaging terms, the purple haze of DSD when you get past, there's only music down here to about 20, 25K. All of this stuff up here, which usually is just purple, that's all the noise. In this case, it's not purple, it's red. The more red it is, the louder it is. In fact, if you look at where the purple spectrograph comes, it's louder than the signal. There's more noise in that signal than there is signal. Why in the world would a company put out a cell phone with stuff like that? Oh, hey. There, see that? So I sent this spectrograph back to the people at the T.H.E company and said, hey guys, this is not going to excite any of the journalists and the people that are listening, like you and I, with this through a nice set of headphones and headphone head, you're going to go, what the hell is all this? Well, you know that's what you're buying 90% of the time when you buy a DSD track? You're buying a boatload of noise.
So, two questions, they're part of the same one. A lot of people seem, even critics, experts, have come around to say that, well, okay, forgot, a lot of people who produce high-end equipment have come around to say that they actually like the sound of DSD in part one and part two.
No argument there.
Part two is,
if you like it,
but for whatever
know
reason,
about it.
but these are people who are considered highly respected in terms of what they make high-end equipment they're saying is, right? And the second part is,
they're wrong.
okay, I'm trying, I know a lot of audiophiles that are in my club and they seem to like this for whatever reason, but the second part of it is they're saying that all this noise that's up here, even though you can't hear it, all this stuff that's above here, somehow it's affecting what you hear in the audible range.
In a bad way.
Well, they're saying perhaps in a good way,
They
what else would
say
explain.
they say it sounds more analog, but that's not my goal. My goal is to recreate what came in from the musicians into the microphones.
I see, okay.
So I
There you go.
can take a 192K file, a PCM file that's all black as you go up into the stratosphere, and I can turn that into a DSD sounding file by adding distortion, adding noise, rolling off, no problem. But for those people that listen to my stuff and appreciate what it is that I do, including this cable guy who comes in and goes, that's a bad thing to be clear and in detail and have all the sparkle. No, that's his preference, no problem. So,
But that's the fact that,
Yeah, for the record, I wasn't the cable guy, right?
you're not the cable guy.
Okay.
I'm not gonna, look, my intention here is not to slam anybody. I'm just telling you, as a person who's not here to sell you anything other than wonderful recordings. Right?
And they are wonderful for some.
Thank you.
And they get video for free, and you get video for free.
And that's the part that
That's
the
what's
journalists
great.
out there in 15 years of making productions. What record label do you know that has full high-def video on the tracks? In fact, the Blu-ray Pure Audio people want me to put out my versions as Pure Audio Blu-ray discs and take the video off and charge more. It's a market, and DSD is a buzz thing that gets people talking. You can sell more magazines, you can sell more ads, banner ads, and all the advertising goes
And
along with
resell
it.
what you have.
Look, I get it, we're in business. Sadly, I'm not a good businessman. I'm a university professor who is not gonna lie to you about what's going on. I didn't make this up. In fact, when I informed the people at HTC, they were aghast. They put their chief technical person in touch with me, he said, oh my God, you're right, I own some of your recordings, by the way, and this is embarrassing. Luckily, they'd only sent it out to about 200 people. It's not going on the mass market phone. My stuff is, because it's got dynamic range. These things suck. Just because it plays doesn't mean that it has the fidelity that we want.
What makes the 96 magical versus the 190?
Because we can meet my definition of high def. We get everything you ears can hear in terms of dynamics and frequency response, with no noise in the stratosphere. And get this, of the DSDs, or the SACDs that have been produced and released in the world, there are about 8,000 of them. What percentage of those do you think are actually native DSD? Meaning they were recorded on DSD, post-processed in DSD, and put onto discs or as files? 15%.
I was gonna say less than single digits.
15%. 15.
And some new ones.
Well, Rays are native, I think.
Yeah.
Are you using pure mix processing the DXD?
Pardon?
You using DXD to post them? How do you edit them?
Well, because we don't process,
But how do you edit them?
well, it does go to DXD for a split second.
Then you went to PCM for that split second.
Yes, true.
So I did a big write-up on DXD the other day. DXD, the logo looks like DXD. It's got this swat in the middle, and I erroneously thought at the beginning that that was somehow DSD on steroids. It's not, it's PCM. At 352.8, 24 bits, 32 bits. Well, it can go up to it. Morton records at 24 bits, up here in the stratosphere, and then down converts to all these other flavors. And if you're willing to pay $40 for the down conversion into DSD, multiple 5.6, whatever, and then you pay $20 for the 192, and you pay $15 for the 96, and you pay $10 for the 44.1, guess which ones have the most fidelity? There isn't anything beyond the 9624 to pay for, other than noise, if that's what you want. So,
You also get more problems with jitter and
you get me started, I'm sorry, but I gotta tell you, there is, the truth is out there. And sadly, over the rest of the weekend in seminars in this room, you're not gonna hear it. You're gonna hear a feel-good love fest about how wonderful DSD is and how it's gonna change the world, when in fact, people making DSD recordings are using PCM, or Cookie uses analog tape, and then converts to DSD at the end of the process. Where's the dynamic range of analog tape? The best analog recorders on the planet. At United Home Audio, these places that will sell you analog tape. I've got some of those. I've lived with it for 35 years. What's the dynamic equivalent in bits of a first generation analog master tape? 12, 13. That's the best we do. And guess what? That's the 24 track, maybe 2 track. Or if you really want to go crazy, you can make a 2 track tunage machine. People do that too. But can we have one of those in your house? Not like.
What do you think make people like it? Some people.
It's taste. Yeah, I love mac and cheese. Some people, you know, Corona and Stella, I don't know, it's just about taste. But the fact is, when you boil it all down, like what you like, can you buy it? But my plea is to come over to my booth or my table and get a hold of,
Your recordings are DVD audio still, are they?
no, they're PCM.
No, I mean, for what we buy, the silver disc is what? Or are they now?
Well, they're DVD audio on one side, DVD video on the other for the old ones. And as soon as I started shooting high-def video in 2007, they're now Blu-rays.
And are you going to be offering downloads as well?
I put up the world's first high-resolution download site. It's a secret. Can't tell you. iTracks. iTracks.com was started in the fall of 2007.
You're selling downloads right now?
I am.
ITRAX.com?
iTrax.com. The problem with that is, and why I'm not Ph.D. tracks of the world, is because I held my standards meet real high-definition recordings. So if it came from an analog tape, I said no, I won't put it on my site because I want my customers to know for certain that these are bona fide high-resolution audio. So instead of licensing all those tracks and charging you $30 or $25 for something that fits inside of a 44.1 CD just fine, I said the only stuff, 1,500 records you get from my tracks are my recordings, Harmonium Whitney's recordings, not all of them. Clap on, let's see. So, I know we're coming to the end of my time here, but we need this definition. You're not going to get it. Go to my website, you will get it. The last time I gave this speech, well, no, a year ago in Chicago, I started talking to Esther about DSD and analog tape and the fire alarm. I think there was somebody outside who shut this guy up in a hurry. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, like what you like. And I'm not critical of what Mr. ISO Mike does in the back. I think there's brilliant recordings. I wish he could come to the light and opt into high-resolution PCM, because I know, and the people like Robert Stewart and the scientists that Amar and the rest of them, they all know too, that DSD is hocus pocus. It's a premium selling format right now. And if I was a better businessman, I should, let's do DSD transfers of my stuff and then charge $40 for it. That's why NPR wanted to do an article on what does a $5 download track sound like. It was one of Cookie's tracks. They're analog tape with 16-bit PCM reverb on them. So, and I'm not faulting her because I think her recordings sound great. for 1970. They do. And that's sadly, it's not a bash. That's what the record industry is delivering to you folks. In fact, it's not even as good as 1970. Now when you get a track, it's been compressed so that Trent Reznor was at my studio, and I thought I had a little wedge in there. He was there with Beats, was in my studio evaluating directionality for headphones in my studio. I had a pretty nice room. And they came by, and Trent came by, and they did the whole Smith realizer, and I grabbed Trent, and I said, chat for 15, 20 minutes, 9 Inch Nails, really smart guy, really nice guy. And his next record comes out, and I'm thinking, I did it. You succeeded. I got him convinced that there's really an audiophile market out there. So what did he do? For $9, you can download Hesitation Marks, his album, his newest album, and as a bonus, he would give you the audiophile mastered version. I'm in. Something I said made a difference. So I downloaded it. I like his music, I like him, the whole bit worked out great. And you look at the CD iTunes version, and the trick in the mastering world is you blow it right up against the list of the ceiling, and then you pull it back 0.2 of the dB so you don't send off any error lights. That's the trick about making things loud. Sadly. So we're better in the 70s, so I just got my new, I found my mobile fidelity copy Dave Mason Alone Together, one of my favorite records. It's full of dynamic range, it's a magic sounding record. And I met Dave and worked with him. I got a couple of recordings that I did with Dave Mason. So anyway, the CD version, the iTunes version is that all loud all the time, looks like a brick. The audiophile version is actually louder. The peaks are louder. So the audiophile version has slightly more dynamic range, about 4 dB. So I started getting depressed again and said, I can say I met and talked with Trent Reznor, but I couldn't break through. Now my kid, my oldest kid, is a math metal head. Tool, Dillinger, Steve playing. And he played cello as a kid. There was hope, and then he went to the dark side, and everything's all loud all the time. But he does a really beautiful job. He makes music that you can't count to. There's no four. The drummer in that band, I can't imagine how he plays, because there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the Great Wall. He said, Christopher, give me one of your tunes. I'll mix it with surround. I'll leave the dynamics alone, and it's just completely inappropriate for his music. It makes it sound like a real track. If you occupied the mosh pit any time in your recent past, it's not about the music, guys. It's about an experience. So God bless him, he's headed into a life of mayhem, and he's pain averse, so there's no tattoos yet. But we'll see. The other son is graduating from MIT grad school in 2 weeks, so I get yin and yang. They're both happy, and we'll see how that goes. Any other questions? Yes.
I think one problem I have is specifically it's recording technologies that a lot of
Is it what? I'm sorry.
how records are produced now is the recording process itself is the main determination of sound quality.
It is. What we do in
And
front of
there's
the
a lot
mic.
of multi-miking and mixing instead of what a natural sound would be. So
Well, then you stepped into it there for me too, because I will have people that walk in and see the video of my recording of an orchestra, and they'll see lots of microphones planted around. I'm a 2-channel guy. I've only got 2 ears. Why should I use all these microphones? So they don't like me for recording an orchestra with 36 channels. Lots of stereo mics. But Richard Hardbattle actually reviewed my Bach Brandenburg recording sometime ago. And he said to me, or wrote the review, said, you know how many recordings of Brandenburg concertos there are? Lots. It's like one of my favorite composer, and I just love those pieces and music in general. It's magic. Music that gradually doesn't let you go. And he said, that's the first time I've ever heard a recording of the Brandenburg concertos that had depth to it, that wasn't just a poster board against a wall. And that's the stereo version. The reason is because when you put stereo microphones in front of people, 2 things I get. I get the depth, how far away you are, and the other thing that I get is proximity. I can be this close to a section of fiddles, and 1 over the D squared rule applies, the inverse square rule. The farther away you get from something, sound-wise, light-wise, it reduces by not 1 over D, but 1 over D squared. So the distance doubles, the amplitude at that additional distance is 1/4 the size. So the further away you get, guess what? All the high frequencies go away and all the low frequencies survive. So you've got this really skewed version of what the music sounds like. If I'm close to that sound, this is what I came up with philosophically, is that in a recording that I made, pop, classical, whatever, in fact, if you look at the string quartet that I recorded, the New York City String Quartet, where a guy wrote me back and said, I've been waiting 60 years for this. The Holy Grail's arrived. I shot it in 3D, 96K 24 bits, and if you look above the heads of each one of the string players, there's a stereo pair of microphones. It gives me the ability to mic that way and change the mixing perspective. If you record with a stereo pair of microphones up here or an ISO mic, you can't do anything later to move that sound over there. You're getting what you get if you were standing in that very same place. That's binaural recording. My graduate worked that way. If I put lots of stereo pairs around, I can then interconnect them, dovetail them together, and create a seamless blend of that sound for me in a set of 5-1 surround speakers in a mix I call stage, which is putting you in the middle of the sound.
But I think one of the differences of miking is time. So if you have mic in front of it, the sound travels much.
It is, but what happens if you're actually standing there as the conductor? There are people that are close to you, and there are people that are further away. So we wrote Mix Magazine on the last page. They actually use a distance calculation, laser beam. It says, well, I have to delay that microphone by this amount to have them all face bearing. That's not what a conductor hears. It's not what you hear in the audience. And I make that phase problem go away because I'm 3 feet from everybody in the room. I do have a set of mics in the back to capture the space, but at the end of the day, you know, it's all going to be about what we do in front of the microphone. And forget about it in regards to Pono and HD tracks and superhighres.com and all the other sites. They're going to be delivering standard definition stuff in big bit buckets at premium prices until you finally get tired of it and say, enough. Be aware that there are people, Ray's one, Morton, Todd, Cookie, that care about sound quality and are producing products that actually avoid all that process. The 6 degrees of degradation I read about, and I put up my post this morning from Cookie on her presentation, well, 6 degrees of degradation. You can inflict damage on the audio signal at every possible step along the way, including the noise that's in the room, or the ambience, or a cricket that creeps into the floorboards.
No more questions. We're really. Could you list a few of the record sources and we pay other than AIF?
Well, you can look. My thing right now is I'm happy to chat with people. I'm in the Marketplace 2 room around the corner. Got a Blu-ray sampler, which at a minimum you should take home and see whether I'm full of it or not. Listen to it and see what you like or don't like. And I'm happy to answer questions, hand out business cards.
And then guys, for this audience, I think I could recommend go to Amazon.com and buy a book called Mixer Man. Because I'll bet you that you just lay around laughing at that book. Have you read it, Mark?
I haven't.
Oh, it is fantastic.
What's it
Mixer
called?
Man.
Anyway,
Thank you. Let's
thank you
thank
very,
Mark
very
for a
much.
fascinating